Hey everyone, ready to dive into Europe's tech future. It feels like they're on the verge of something big.
Absolutely.
And we have got the perfect guide. Haptic R&D Consulting's podcast series, Europe's Next Frontier,
Mm,
Strategic Technologies and Economic Resilience. Get ready to become Europe's tech whisperer by the end of this deep dive.
yeah. What's got everyone buzzing is the EU's push for technological sovereignty.
Ooh, technological
Yeah.
sovereignty. That sounds kind of like, I don't know.
Right.
What does that actually mean?
It means they want to be less reliant on other countries for important tech.
Okay.
Like, think about that global chip shortage a while back.
Oh,
It
yeah.
exposed how fragile those supply chains are. Europe's learned from that, and now they're building up their own capabilities in semiconductors, artificial intelligence, even clean energy.
So it's like they're saying, we're not going to be caught off guard again.
Exactly. Self-reliance, strategic autonomy. The world's unpredictable,
Right.
and they want to be prepared.
Makes sense. It's like if another crisis hits, Europe wants to be the one with the solutions, not scrambling for them.
Exactly. And this podcast series breaks down their strategy into some key sectors: clean technologies, quantum computing, AI, and biomanufacturing.
Okay, those are some big ones. Let's start with clean technologies. What's the EU's game plan there?
They're aiming to be the global leader in clean technologies.
Wow.
Massive investments in green energy infrastructure, wind, solar power, even things like hydrogen fuel cells.
Oh, wow.
They're looking at a 55% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by 2030.
Ambitious.
Really ambitious. And for businesses, this means a rapidly growing market, huge opportunities in renewable energy, energy efficiency, sustainable transportation.
So if you're looking for where to invest or grow your business, clean tech in the EU is the place to be.
Absolutely. Now, how about something a bit more mind-bending? Quantum computing.
Ooh, quantum compute. I'll admit that one makes my head spin a little. Like, is it magic?
Think of it this way: a computer that designs new materials at the molecular level, breakthroughs in everything.
Yeah.
Solar energy, drug development, even finance.
So it's not just faster computers, it's like a whole new way of computing.
Exactly, unlocking new possibilities. And Haptic R&D Consulting helps their clients tap into this potential.
Really? That's
They
fascinating.
bridge that gap between the theory of quantum physics and the practical needs of businesses.
So they're helping to make quantum computing, well, less quantum and more practical.
Exactly, helping companies find that competitive edge, optimizing supply chains, developing personalized medicine, even creating unbreakable encryption.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, let's move on to AI, which seems to be everywhere these days with both excitement and some, anxiety.
Right.
How's the EU approaching AI?
They're taking a very deliberate approach, trying to find that balance between harnessing its potential and addressing those concerns.
Right.
Lots of investment in research and development, focusing on healthcare, transportation, manufacturing,
Yeah.
but big emphasis on ethical considerations, ensuring AI respects fundamental rights, privacy, doesn't make existing inequalities worse.
Mm-hmm.
They've even released guidelines for trustworthy AI, getting global attention.
So it's not just about building the most powerful AI, it's about building AI that's beneficial for everyone.
Exactly. And that's where Haptic comes in again, helping businesses adopt AI ethically.
Interesting, like AI ethics coaches.
You could say that. They're leading the charge for what they call impactful AI.
I like that.
Yeah.
So AI as a force for good, not just like a sci-fi villain.
Right.
Okay, before we move on, let's talk about biomanufacturing, which I feel like sometimes gets overshadowed, but it's revolutionizing healthcare and beyond.
Biomanufacturing is all about harnessing the power of biology. New medicines, vaccines, sustainable materials, even biofuels.
So working with nature, not just taking from it.
Exactly. And the EU's investing heavily in biomanufacturing, aiming to solidify Europe's leadership.
Okay.
Think about things like personalized medicine, new antibiotics. Biomanufacturing is poised to make a huge impact.
So a biorevolution is on the horizon and Europe's at the forefront. Is Haptic involved in this too? They seem to be everywhere.
They are deeply engaged in biomanufacturing, working with biotech companies to develop and commercialize these groundbreaking technologies.
Wow.
They help with funding, partnerships, navigating regulations, bringing products to market.
Okay, so bridging the gap between the lab and the real world.
Absolutely.
This is all incredibly fascinating, but how does this tie into the overall economic outlook for Europe? Because, Things are a little shaky globally right now.
That's a great question. It's something the EU's autumn 2024 economic forecast addresses directly.
Okay, so what's the forecast? Boom or bust?
It's, well, not all sunshine and rainbows,
Right.
but it's not all doom and gloom either. They're predicting gradual economic growth, despite global challenges like inflation and energy prices.
So cautious optimism.
Exactly. The key takeaway here is resilience. Yeah. The EU is focused on building an economy that can withstand those shocks and emerge stronger. And their investments in these strategic technologies are a big part of that.
So they're playing the long game, building a foundation for a more sustainable and less vulnerable future.
Precisely.
But what does this mean for businesses trying to navigate this landscape? What's Haptic's advice?
Strategic planning and adaptability. Companies need to assess their vulnerabilities, identify opportunities for innovation,
Right.
and be ready to pivot.
Don't just hunker down and wait for the storm to pass, right?
Right. Prepare for the future. Find ways to thrive.
Like the EU's creating a new playing field,
Yeah.
and Haptic's helping businesses learn the rules and develop winning strategies.
Exactly. Staying ahead of the curve, seizing those opportunities.
Speaking of opportunities, all this talk of innovation and growth makes me think, what are the hot investment opportunities in Europe right now?
That's where things get interesting for anyone with an eye for the future.
Okay, tell me more.
The EU's focus on technology and resilience is creating a wave of investment opportunities in some very specific sectors. We'll break those down right after this. So those hot investment opportunities. The EU's focus on tech and resilience is creating a wave of opportunities across several key sectors.
Okay, let's get specific. Where should investors be looking to, ride that wave?
Well, clean technologies are definitely at the top of the list.
Makes sense.
As the EU pushes towards those ambitious sustainability goals,
Mhm.
there's going to be a huge surge in demand for renewable energy solutions, energy-efficient technologies, sustainable materials.
So we're talking solar panels, wind turbines, electric vehicles, green building materials.
Exactly, but it goes beyond just the obvious. Think about innovations in waste management, circular economy solutions, even sustainable agriculture practices.
Wow, so it's like a whole new ecosystem of innovation is springing up around sustainability.
It is.
What about those other tech areas we talked about earlier, like quantum computing, AI, and biomanufacturing?
Those are attracting investors too.
Okay, good.
Quantum computing. It's still early stages, but the potential is huge. Investors who are willing to take some calculated risks could see significant returns as this technology matures and starts disrupting industries.
It's like investing in the internet back in the 90s, right? High risk, but potentially huge rewards.
Precisely. And then there's AI. It's already transforming industries. But what's interesting about the EU's approach is that emphasis on ethical AI. So investments in AI-powered solutions that align with those ethical guidelines, particularly in healthcare and education, are expected to see significant growth.
So it's not just about developing the most powerful AI, but developing AI that's beneficial and trustworthy. I like that approach.
Exactly. And lastly, we have biomanufacturing. It's often overlooked, but it's poised for explosive growth.
Okay.
As the demand for personalized medicine, advanced therapies, sustainable biomaterials continues to rise, so too will the investment opportunities.
It's like we're on the cusp of a biorevolution and Europe's at the forefront.
Precisely. The EU's commitment to these strategic technologies isn't just about economic growth. It's about building a future that's more sustainable, resilient, and inclusive.
I like that.
And for investors, it represents a chance to be part of that transformation, to back the companies and innovations that are shaping the world of tomorrow.
It sounds like Europe is becoming a hotbed of innovation, and those who recognize this early on stand to benefit significantly.
Exactly. Now, while we've been focusing on the macro trends, it's important to remember that none of this happens in a vacuum.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture and forget about the real-world implications for individuals and businesses. So let's bring it back down to earth. How can our listener, someone who's already interested in these topics, connect these trends to their own life or work?
Well, for starters, just being aware of these trends is a huge advantage. It allows you to start thinking about how these developments might impact your industry, your career, even your personal investments.
It's like having a sneak peek into the future, and you can start preparing for the changes that are coming.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe you work in an industry that's going to be disrupted by AI, so you start thinking about what new skills you might need. Or maybe you're looking to make some investments, and now you're considering companies working in clean tech or biomanufacturing.
It's about being proactive, right? Instead of waiting for the future to happen to you, you can start shaping it yourself.
Precisely. And if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all this information, Remember that you don't have to become an expert in everything overnight.
Right. You don't need to suddenly understand quantum mechanics or build a wind turbine.
Exactly. The important thing is to stay curious, keep learning, and be open to new possibilities. Read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, and connect with others who are interested in these topics.
It's about fostering that lifelong learning mindset, right? The world's changing faster than ever, so the ability to adapt and learn new things is becoming increasingly valuable.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we've touched on throughout our conversation. We've talked a lot about the EU's ambitions, the hot investment sectors, but there's one player we haven't fully explored yet. I'm talking about Haptic R&D consulting.
Yes, they've come up quite a bit. We've discussed their expertise in helping businesses navigate this evolving landscape. But what sets them apart? What makes them unique in the world of consulting?
Well, for one, they have an incredibly deep understanding of the European context. They're not just applying generic consulting frameworks. They're deeply immersed in the specifics of EU policies, regulations, funding mechanisms.
So they're not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk right here in Europe.
Exactly. They're on the ground working closely with businesses, research institutions, and policymakers to drive innovation and growth within the unique European ecosystem.
That local expertise must be invaluable for their clients.
Absolutely. But beyond that, I think what truly sets Haptic apart is their passion for what they do. They genuinely believe in the power of technology to solve problems and create a better future, and that enthusiasm is contagious.
It definitely shines through in everything we've discussed today. They're not just consultants, they're champions for innovation and progress.
Well said. And they're not just focused on profits. They're committed to responsible innovation, ensuring that technology is used for the benefit of society as a whole.
That's a crucial point, especially as technology becomes increasingly powerful and pervasive. It's not just about what we can do, but what we should do. And Haptic seems to be playing a key role in guiding that conversation, making sure ethical considerations are at the forefront of technological development. You know, it's really inspiring to see how the EU is not just embracing technology, but also shaping its development in a way that prioritizes sustainability, ethics, and well-being.
It is a refreshing approach, especially when, tech advancements often seem to put speed and profit first.
Yeah.
The EU is trying to do things differently.
Right. Aligning progress with human values.
Absolutely. And Haptic R&D consulting seems to be playing a key role in helping businesses navigate this new landscape.
They are, definitely.
And really putting those values into action.
Yeah, they're like a bridge between cutting-edge technology and what businesses actually need. Helping them not just adapt, but really thrive.
Yeah.
They're helping build a future where technology is a force for good.
It's like they're architects of Europe's tech-driven destiny, designing and constructing a future that's innovative, but also human-centered.
That's a great way to put it. They're not just consultants.
Yeah.
They're partners, collaborators, champions for a better future.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
Yeah.
We've explored the EU's ambitious goals, the economic outlook, the investment opportunities, and Haptic's role in this transformation.
Yeah.
What a journey.
It has been fascinating.
It really has.
It's clear the EU is betting big on technology, and that's creating these ripple effects everywhere. Absolutely. And for anyone listening who's feeling a little overwhelmed, remember, you don't have to become an expert overnight.
Right, you don't.
The key is awareness.
Yeah, just understanding these trends.
Right.
That's how you start to see the bigger picture, where things are headed. And that helps you make better decisions.
Right, whether you're a business leader, an investor, or just someone navigating their career.
Exactly.
It's like having a map for the future.
Yeah.
You might not know exactly what's around every corner,
Right.
but you have a sense of where you're going, and you can start planning your route.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe you'll find some hidden gems along the way. New opportunities, connections, even new passions.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Just gotta stay curious.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
The future isn't something that just happens to us.
Right.
It's something we create. And with the EU leading the charge in responsible and impactful tech development, the future looks pretty bright.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time to be alive, to witness all this innovation, and to be a part of shaping a future that's both advanced and human-centered.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, to our listeners, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay tuned for what's next.
Yeah, absolutely.
The future is waiting to be discovered, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to shape it.
You never know.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey.